I'm outside for the sunrise. The sun is supposed to rise in like 5 minutes. This is also not the best spot because I can't see the horizon, but it's still beautiful, isn't it? As you can see, I found a spot that's a little bit better, but maybe I want to keep searching. The sun is definitely up now, and as usual it's getting pretty boring. But the sunshine is nice. It's a few hours later and I'm here at the lake for what's possibly gonna be the last swim of the season. I promised myself to go once more, so here we are. So it was wonderful, but definitely pretty cold. But the wind, it's autumn. But I was wondering if maybe this year I'm able to come again. And this wasn't my last swim, because I managed to stay in the water for 8 minutes and it would totally have been possible to stay in longer. So let's see. So I'm getting ready for a meeting, but first I want to talk to you about living my dream life. I think that's something I've been thinking about a lot during the past few years, and it's something that's like very present online, people telling you how to live your dream life, people living their dream life or pursuing their dream life. And I think that's fine, that's great. But let's get a bit more into it, because let's be honest, I do think I am living my dream life, but I also do want to say that not everything is perfect. So I think the first step when you want to live your dream life is kind of figuring out your dream, right? And while I think many people in the first second think of something very expensive, a house in the middle of New York City, a castle by the seaside, a villa at the lake, I don't think most of our dreams actually need to be so expensive and so picture luxury. So why am I living my dream life? What is my dream life? It's having some free time, working self-employed on my projects, being able to decide what is important to me, not answering to a boss that's giving me like work that I don't think is worth pursuing. So I can make my own schedule. I can have my free time whenever I want. I can decide what the next video is going to be about. I have my partner, I have my son, I have like a family, I have this apartment. And I think another like very important part for like my dream life is being able to access nature and being able to travel. And so I think like in just many, many departments of my life, I'm healthy. My mental health is okay. So I think there's just all of these categories of life are going well. Like I reach my family goals, I have my health goals, I have my job goals, I have my travel and nature goals, I have my free time creativity goals. I'm living the dream. And still, these are kind of like the outer factors. And I think most of us would define our dream life by just being happy. So having all of these outer factors, am I happy? I'm definitely content most of the time. But I also do want to say it, my like happiness levels are not just a 10 out of 10 every single day. And that's kind of also the reason why I think we have to look a bit closer at this whole living my dream life thing. Or in general, maybe I do not think it's possible to be happy 10 out of 10 every single day. And no matter what our dreams are, how we want to have all this money, have all this time, be in this or that place, have a different job, have a different body, thing like that, it would never guarantee us absolute happiness. But in general, I'm definitely very, very happy with my life. So how do I do it? How can you maybe do it as well? And what are still kind of the struggles? So I think one big part of living a content life, being very happy with the life I have, is managing priorities. Unless I'm maybe super rich, and even then, I can't have everything. And I think it's gonna stay this way for the rest of my life and for most of your lives as well. And so I think it is very, very important to have priorities and kind of apply minimalism to our dream life. So by not needing as much, you always have more. And maybe that sounds like you have to miss out. You have to be okay with not having everything you want. But I don't think it's that. It's getting to know yourself better to a point, or like your dreams and goals, where you know what is crucial to make you happy and where you know what is just like, I don't know, a picture in your mind, something you saw somewhere, but it's not actually something that's important to you. So for me, for example, yes, I've seen like very expensive things, cameras, bags, clothes, where I thought like, that looks nice. But I do know that for 99.9% of these things, they wouldn't make me more happy. But I know that very simple things like taking my bike and going swimming in a lake for free does definitely make me a lot more happy. And so I think it's very important to find out what the things are that are very important to me, where it also makes sense to spend my money, to spend my time, and what the things are that maybe other people consider crucial for their happiness or that are advertised to us, but that don't actually affect my happiness level positively so much. So applying minimalism makes it possible for me to be more successful, more happy, more rich, because it makes me need less. And it's the same way with priorities, no matter what they are. If we are not trying to reach 1,000 goal at the same time, but we just focus on 3 things, we will get there much faster and we will know much better, like, is this what I want or is it not? Because if we're focusing on 1,000 things, then do we know what actually make the difference and what's like keeping us back? And then this thing I think is so crucial, but we forget it. And especially people that become more successful struggle with it so much. And that's time. And specifically spending time instead of saving time. So I think we're told this myth of like, we need to save time. We need to do stuff more efficient, which makes us believe that we can somehow save that time to use it later. But that's not true. That's not possible. So while I think, of course, you don't always need to spend the same amount of time on each task, and maybe some tasks you don't enjoy, you can shrink them a bit. You can maybe declutter them totally, completely, so you don't have to spend your time on it. But in general, this mindset of saving time, I think, is making us stressed. But if we can intentionally spend our time and put effort into the areas that we enjoy spending our time, then that's a crucial point for happiness. And in my life, that definitely has played a huge role. And I do think that that makes a huge difference towards feeling like I'm actually living my dream life. But then there are the factors that make me think that even though I'm living my dream life, it doesn't mean that I'm happy. And that sounds sad, and it's a bit sad. And like one part of it has to do with money. So money, I think it's like an important topic, and it's always something that's yes, you say money doesn't make you happy, but it's always also very, very clear that the lack of money can make you very, very unhappy and make a lot of problems surface and make it really, really hard. For the past few years, I've been self-employed, working my dream job, but I've always had not so much money. The sad thing though is that it was always enough. But during the past 3 years of being self-employed, of working with my money, working with my income, I was always so worried that it won't be enough. How did worrying help in this situation? At all. It didn't. So the problem is that while I was worried, I couldn't really enjoy the freedom I had. And so I'm a bit sad that the way I handled it during the past 3 years is just always worrying, instead of maybe setting a number, like knowing if I'm below this number, then I need to change something. But as long as I'm above this number, I do not have to worry about it. I think something like that would have been more helpful maybe, because I'm bummed. Like, worrying about money was a huge part of the past 3 years that maybe made my happiness level lower. And it wasn't necessary because it wouldn't have changed anything. I had enough money. You know, sometimes we're worrying about things that are not here yet, or we're worrying about eventualities and things that could happen. But instead, it would make so much more sense to be grateful what we have in the moment. And if the problem's not there, like if you have enough money, then why are you worrying? That's something I say myself. Of course, your financial situation can be different. There can be reasons. And to worry about money can make sense, you know. It's just what I experienced and what I'm a bit sad about. But what I learned from it, and what also makes it clear for me that I'm absolutely living my dream life still. No matter if my business is going to be successful for the next 10 years or I'm going to go bankrupt in the next 2 months, I would regret it if I haven't taken the chance. And I had an amazing 3 years because I took the leap and tried to be like a full-time creator. And that goes for so many more things. Of course, there might be things I would have done different in my life if I could choose again, but that's impossible. So the only thing I can do looking forward is, what are the things that are so important to me that I want to pursue them, and making sure I actually put in the time and the effort into the priorities that I have, instead of thinking I can do them later and then maybe regret it if I never get to do it. So that leaves the question, like, what is left on my bucket list? What are the things that are so important to me that I really want to put in the work? Because frankly, I'm so happy with my life. I've done kind of everything that I ever wanted to do. I've become everything I've ever wanted to become, while of course being aware that life still always goes on and stuff changes and I can learn more things. So going forward, there's like 2 things that are so important to me that I really want to give it my all, and that's having a better financial situation, let's be honest. At the moment, it's harder than it has been in the last 3 years, and traveling. These are the 2 things where I'm not fully satisfied in my life yet. And I think these 2 things, like, that's something I can handle. Another topic that I haven't talked about in this video yet that is still very, very important to me is that in the future, I do want to use more of my resources and energy towards political and social change. Now, this video is very much so spoken out of a hyper-individualistic perspective, and I'm aware that that is problematic in itself as well. I think we need to think so much more, not just for ourselves, but for our families, communities, and for this planet as a whole thing, which would be that everyone can live in peace and everyone can have their human rights met and everyone can just be themselves without facing discrimination. And I know this is difficult, and I know there are different ways to do that. And so far I've just educated myself and maybe, you know, spoken with the people around me, but I don't feel like that's enough, or I do want to do more. And so I do hope that I also find a way to devote more of myself to that in the future. And I want to remind myself to be happy in the moment and to not worry about stuff that's not here yet, so I can actually enjoy living this dream life that I've created for myself and that I had the luck being able to do because of you, because of other circumstances, and the people around me in my life. I would really like to hear from you how you are feeling about your life, if you are able to do all the things you want to, or if there's something that's really important to you that you still really want to pursue and maybe should start soon. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm gonna link you a video here to check out. And I do want to say thank you to all of you who are supporting me on Patreon, who are supporting me with super thanks, or who have just watched the video until now, because that all really helps me out a lot. I hope to see you there or in my next video. Goodbye.